There's a new team on the rise in the Willamette Valley, and no, it's not the Oregon Ducks. The Willamette Valley Jaguars are your local professional basketball team, competing throughout the Pacific Northwest, representing the Willamette Valley region in the Basketball League, or TBL. The Jaguars are composed of players from across the country who grind every single day to live out their dreams of playing professionally. Every Tuesday at 6 o'clock, we take you behind the scenes on the latest updates on all things Jaguars and get a first-hand account of what it takes to make it in the Basketball League. This is Jaguars Beyond the Baseline. Welcome into Jags Beyond the Baseline, everybody. I'm Isaac Doobie, your host here on the campus of the University of Oregon in Allen Hall, recording this in the infamous podcast room in Allen Hall. I'm joined by two very special guests today, the dynamic duo of the Willamette Valley Jaguars in President of Gameday Operations, Kelly Long, and Braydon Long. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, we're good. Appreciate you having us, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting a day off today from just a weekend of travel on Saturday and then playing that home game yesterday. What'd you get up to on your off day?
I was doing a lot of studying. I got a midterm tomorrow, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I've been doing a lot of studying over the weekend and today. But, you know, I've been watching the games and stuff still.
Mm-hmm. What class?
Economics 201.
Okay. Is that a upper? No, you're still a sophomore,
Yeah,
right?
I'm a freshman.
You're a freshman.
Yeah.
Okay, so you still got some time, but
Yeah.
Are you an economics major? Business major?
No, I'm a business major,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Cool. How about you, Kelly, on this Monday?
Just been running around handling some stuff. You know, there's always things that pop up regarding the basketball team, regardless of day offs. So a few things came up, but nothing too major. Got some equipment back to my guy Bobby P. Shout out to Bobby
Okay.
P. Made sure he was straight and got everything back in order. He's got a gig coming up tomorrow morning. He's heading for Seattle for some Supercross, and he needed his stuff back. So
Gotcha.
as far as broadcasting and stuff goes, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are today without Bobby P. So shout out to Bobby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bobby P. Media. He's really led the way in kind of the from very early on, from like the first few games. I remember him being there, and kind of even now, still helping us with some of the equipment. Shout out to Bobby P.
For sure. The Godfather.
Let's talk about this weekend for the Jaguars. Starting on Saturday, the team went to Vancouver. Braydon, did you travel with the team this weekend?
I didn't this weekend.
Oh.
I had a lot of stuff I had to get done, a lot of studying to do, and I just couldn't make it happen.
Well, they play the Vancouver Volcanoes, a team that's one game ahead of them in the Pacific Northwest Division standings. They actually held a lead in the third quarter going into halftime, but couldn't pull it out. Ended up losing the final 114-105. LJ Robinson had a really nice day, led the team with 26 points. Braydon, anything that you've seen from LJ recently? He really led the team this weekend, especially on offense, but also just energetically as a leader. Is there anything you've picked up for him or learned or seen from him recently?
Well, I'd definitely say he's a good leader. Like, he stepped up in that leadership role, like, in his very first day. Like, he came new to the team. Like, we were already mid-season. He already stepped up as a leader. Like, we had the situation with the new coach. Like, he stepped up and was leading guys, and I really appreciate that. He was helping me out, helping other guys out. And, yeah, he's been really good in that leadership role.
Well, hasn't he been leading practice a little bit, too? I haven't been to a lot of the practices recently, but you were saying he was leading a lot of the practices as that voice for the guys, right?
Yeah. In the most recent practice I went to, he, like, was coming up with drills and stuff to do, helping out Mary and Jordan. But, yeah, he's been really essential.
Yeah. Yeah, and no Jordan Robinson this week in either game, and he does a lot for the Jaguars in scoring, in being a rim protector, and kind of doing the dirty work in the paint. And LJ kind of tried to step up and really he led the team in scoring the whole weekend. And then you look at this game on Sunday where the Jaguars came back to Crescent Valley High School, played in Corvallis. LJ Robinson, another great performance, a 30-piece this time. He had a crazy half-court buzzer beater to end the second half, but Jaguars, they ended up losing yesterday, 134-100. But a pretty special day, though, as far as the turnout at Crescent Valley High School. I thought that was the best turnout I've ever seen for a Jaguars home game. And some of the festivities with the Star Wars Day and the bouncy house outside and some concessions outside. What was the experience like for you in kind of getting that all kind of figured out?
It was definitely a team effort. Everybody came together and we all pulled together. It was a lot of moving parts. We're grateful for the companies that donated their time and efforts for this. It wasn't something that, like the bouncy house was just basically donated to us. They came and set up, broke down everything, had made sure the kids have fun. We had some face painters. We even had some folks out from the roller derby, so it was pretty cool. Yeah. A huge part of it is that the Salem Capitals, who we played on Sunday, they travel pretty well too, and they're kind of like our big brothers in the league anyway. So it's kind of nice for them to bring their fans with us and fill the stands a little bit more and gives that rivalry a little boost too. I don't know if you noticed yesterday, but there was some contentiousness in the stands, even though the game wasn't all that close. But
a few people with some noisemakers and like a little like trumpet, a little like bugle.
It was that old
or horn.
Yeah, the old plastic horn from like baseball games. In the old stadiums. It was a little loud. Yeah. But talking about Saturday night, I wanted to bring up that, the game against Vancouver, I think, was a little bit more indicative of where we're heading as a team as opposed to Sunday's game.
Okay.
The fact that we were missing Jordan was a big missing piece. He's a huge part of what we do. He's last time I checked, he was top 3 in the league in rebounding. And, he's very good at one of my favorite basketball stats, which is the tip in, just because it's two things at once. Yep. And so he eats up his own misses, he eats up everybody else's misses, and it's a huge chunk that we're missing when he's not there. The fact that we were competing so close with Vancouver was a testament to how hard these guys do work and the time and effort that they put in. It was good coaching. It's just hard to overcome that much of a missing piece, and it definitely showed a lot more on Sunday, for sure. Sunday wasn't really indicative of the type of team that we generally are.
Yeah,
obviously we beat Salem in the past, and so it's not like they're a 34-point better team than we are per se. It was just there was some exhaustion there too, and being coming off the road like that. So I did like what I saw in that Vancouver game. There was some good. They were up by 10 at one point, and it's just as you're building a team and building the chemistry, it's one of the last things you figure out is how to finish. And so we're getting closer for sure. And I'm pretty proud of my guys for the effort they put forth. And even though they're down by 30 at the end of that game, they're still pushing as hard as they can. So, we're growing. We're becoming a better team. And I was pretty proud of their effort this weekend.
Yeah. And you mentioned Jordan Robinson, how he does, especially on the offensive glass and kind of cleaning up the trash and putting in his own misses, other teams' misses. He actually leads the league in offensive rebounds per game.
Yeah.
Something I was looking into going into this weekend. A pretty big piece to be missing going into games against Vancouver and then Salem, which is in the kind of the team to beat for the Jaguars. Already beat them once this year, but couldn't get it done yesterday. Braydon, from what you've seen in film, what are you seeing from this Jaguars team from this last weekend? Have you looked at the film from this past week or just followed along at all?
I've been watching. I've been following along a little bit. I'm definitely going to go back and watch more. But like my dad was saying, we've been missing Jordan Robinson. The main thing for us is just finishing games. We need to be more consistent throughout the entire game. It's a game of runs.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but we got to not give up, and that's what we're starting to do at the end of games. We're down, but we're still playing till the final whistle. And I think we're definitely improving. We're definitely getting to that winning situation. We're right there.
Yeah,
it's just small little details, small little things.
I also think a big part, not just in his play in the game, but also his size, was Robert Upshaw. Yesterday at 7'1". I was trying to come up with as many Star Wars puns as I could on the broadcast of how much of a dominant and unstoppable force he was in the paint. definitely not having Jordan, who's one of the better defenders on the team, in the paint defending him, definitely didn't help. But he had an incredible game. He missed, I think, 11 for 12 from the field and 33 points. Just a force that was, or 13 for 14 for 33 points. So sensational stuff. He only played 19 minutes too. He's in his 30s, and he kind of plays like limited minutes. He doesn't play like an entire game anymore.
Right. Well, he definitely maximizes his opportunities.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
That one dunk that he had, that and one, was insane.
I think there were at least 2 or 3
There
of
was
those,
when he went up and Tay got him on the wrists like so hard. I'm sure you guys even heard it. And he finished, and it was just like the whole gym was just, their mouths were like agape. But it was impressive. I really like him. He's one of those guys that on the court he's a beast, and then as soon as he steps off the court, he's just like such a cool, chill guy. He's awesome to talk to. Great perspective. He's traveled all over the world playing basketball, and so you could probably talk to him for hours. In fact, it'd be cool to get him on something like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he was pretty dominant yesterday.
Yeah. I want to go back to the turnout this weekend with the crowd, and just some of the work that the Jaguars do in the community, in where you guys are, and where you guys are practicing, when you guys come down here to Eugene, some of the people that you feature in your guys' halftime shows. Talk a little bit about who was featured this weekend for the Star Wars Day event, kind of who came out, and it was a really nice turnout, honestly, for just a day that was really catered around the community and bringing people together, and for basketball, and then also to kind of highlight some of the businesses that you were bringing out yesterday.
Well, one of the main people that we wanted to highlight and kind of showcase a little bit was the first responders from the Albany area. So we had some firemen out there, a couple policemen. They got to interact with a lot of the kids. A lot of kids got to go up on the fire truck and get the hat and all that, which was pretty neat. A lot of those folks, I don't think people really realize or kind of forget how much it takes to be in that position as far as a first responder is concerned, and the different levels of everything as far as just stress and risk, and how it affects their family and things of that nature. And so it was pretty important. We did have we had a dodgeball match planned, and I'm not sure, but I think the first responders, some of them left. I don't know if they were intimidated by the potential matchups, but we had some other stuff planned for them. It just didn't kind of pan out. But
first responders versus the kids?
No, it was going to be fire department versus policemen.
Oh, okay.
And then we were going to let the kids decide who they wanted to be with.
Okay.
And they kind of left a little early. So, but other than that, it was an opportunity to bring out. We brought out this couple that has their own food truck in Albany called 3 Potato More, which they're super awesome. I think that this is their thing. They probably did many other things in the past, and this is like their retirement, how they live their lives now, and they're pretty cool. They have like stuffed baked potatoes that they do, and it's all very well done. And so, we just want to feature. We're more of a community-oriented organization, and we want to be able to feature those folks and give them that spotlight and allow them to grow as well.
Yeah.
The roller derby thing was pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. I didn't know they were even doing that anymore. And so, they have a team in Albany. They're trying to get us out there. There's an element of like professional wrestling a little bit to roller derby because they're kind of rough and they're kind of physical. And so I was talking to the owner about maybe incorporating some of our players in something, have them get out there and mess with somebody or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's an opportunity to shine a spotlight on other organizations that might not get that exposure otherwise. Absolutely.
And I thought you guys did just an exceptional job. I think that, and it was beautiful to see the kids out, and a great turnout for what was a really great game. Kelly, I want to go into kind of your title a little bit with the team. You've been with the team since its inception last year. Yeah. Kind of you and Marion have been the tandem that's really helped this team kind of flourish and grow to where it is now. Talk about your title, how you got involved, and just what are your hopes for the future, maybe?
Well, initially, I just had found out that they were bringing a team locally through basically my son's trainer, Coach T, Thomas Bullock, who I've worked with and my son's worked with for the last 5+ years. He was initially invited to be a part of the organization, and as a part of that, he asked me if I'd be interested and told me to reach out. So I got involved with Marion, talked to him a little bit, and after a couple of pretty in-depth interviews, he offered me a position, which was really awesome. I was originally the vice president of operations, which essentially was a title to start. It really didn't have a job description. And the president of operations ended up leaving a couple weeks into the season.
Okay.
And so I kind of just stepped into that role and became the president of operations and basically oversaw everything on the game day operations side of things and kind of assembled crews to do different things during games and things like that and scheduled performances. And so this year we kind of honed my role down a little bit and made it just about game day operations instead of basketball operations because I was basically already taking all of that on.
Yeah.
And so it's been pretty rewarding. What I like most about it is being able to bring in, guys like you and the interns and help. It's like I like to say, my success is helping others succeed, right?
Yeah.
And so if I can help someone like you get to the next level, or if I can help someone like Nathan, or if I could help someone like Akila, that's what means something to me. And in the meantime, we all as a team make stuff happen every day. And my goal is to let people know that, they can't tell what we're doing. They just see the end result and how smooth we are. Like the on-air broadcast, all I get is positive feedback about everything we do. And so I know that collectively I've surrounded myself with people that are wanting to get the job done, and that means everything to me, know. And so I like to return that by helping as much as I can as far as getting to the next level and things of that nature.
Absolutely. Question for you: if someone wants to get involved and start working in game day operations, what advice would you tell them?
I would say be open to doing whatever it takes. It's not something that you're going to have to do something crazy, but a lot of times in those settings, that's how you prove yourself, what you're willing to do and what you're willing to show that you're willing to do in order to get to the next level. And it's like a perfect example would be Kaylee Jones, who was on previously with you guys. She has been so helpful to me and been like a right-hand woman for me because I bounce off ideas and we talk about stuff, and she's trying to find a bigger role within our organization. And so we've been kind of trying to customize something, think of something that would be appropriate for her. And in the meantime, it's been all about, well, what can I do to help out? Whatever area, marketing, this, that. And so we lost our PA announcer, our PA person. And in speaking with her about it, just in normal conversation, she says, well, could I give it a try? And it's like, okay, as someone in my position right there, my ears perk up.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's not just about her willing to try to be a PA person. That means she's going to do whatever it takes. And so I especially love to be able to help someone out like that. That's willing to do whatever and in turn put them in that position to succeed. And her first game was yesterday. And personally, I think she did great. She was super comfortable. She wasn't doing too much, and as she gets going and doing it more, she'll definitely get better at it. So I'm pretty excited for her.
Yeah, and I think it's an incredible opportunity for someone to be able to learn in like a full professional environment where players are getting paid and getting their own housing paid for. There's not a lot of opportunities just in the world or in the country where you really get to do this type of learning, where it's an actual experience, where it's an actual basketball league. There's actual community initiatives and actual players that are, that have careers on the line.
For sure.
And that's exactly what they do. I want to talk to you a little bit about the difference from last year to this year, going from head of basketball operations to president of game day operations this year. What has been kind of the difference in just what you've handled? Go a little bit deeper into that.
Well, last year it was basically a trial by fire. Everything that we learned from experience. Yeah. There wasn't a book to refer to. We did have an operations manual, which kind of gave us a blueprint of what we were trying to follow. But ultimately, it all comes from experience. And, last year compared to this year, it seemed like there was adversity at every turn. And so learning from that, we had a lot less adversity this year. I mean, like I was saying initially, there's always something that pops up, but it's been a lot easier this year just from the experience of going through it last year and how to handle certain things when they pop up, dealing with league officials and things of that nature. It's definitely been a lot easier as far as understanding what's right around the corner for a lot of things and anticipating what we might have to deal with or what might be coming up. Whereas last year it was a real come as you go type thing where we were like, okay, well, that didn't work, So we've definitely been a lot more organized this year. We've been a lot more, even though we were pretty community focused last year, this year we've been way more dialed in with that as far as just getting more community ventures going and getting our face out there and getting kids involved. But I anticipate next year being even better. It's just one of those things where each year we're going to look back and, Marion and I are the only ones left besides yourself, really. Everybody else has kind of moved on, which is good. A lot of people have moved on to bigger and better things. Some folks just have lives to live. This isn't something that any of us are making a ton of money doing. It's more of like about the love for it and, helping others succeed and anticipating that one day it will become something bigger and better. But, from year 1 to year 2, we definitely had a lot of growth and a lot of more success that I'm pretty proud of. And Marion and I sticking it out together, it's like it's pretty rewarding to sit down at the end of the day and have a talk with the owner and be able to hash things out and, just see how far we've come in a short amount of time. So I like to hang my hat on stuff like that for sure.
One addition to the administrative team for the Jaguars from this year to last year is Cindy Murphy, who I haven't had the chance to talk with her on the show. I've talked with her a little bit outside. What's the addition of her to the team been like? Kind of a third person to help run the administrative side of things, taking your role so you can focus on, like you said, game day operations.
Yeah.
What's that been like?
She's been super helpful. She's allowed us to, breathe a little bit. She brought a level of professionalism that was definitely stabilizing. Kind of brought everybody in that frame of mind where she was the anchor that was keeping everybody from going off in their little distances and trying to, see things the way they should see them. She kind of steered everybody within that same focus, if that makes sense. She has a lot of experience with event planning. In fact, she probably should be doing my job, honestly, because she is an event coordinator. She has a ton of experience. One of the big events that she does a hot air balloon expo up in Tigard that's actually pretty well known. I think this is their 19th year, and she runs the whole thing. And it's like it's a large event that has a pretty deep history for such an event. I mean, she's got some stories, but overall, she's just an amazing person. She was a former Duck as well. She played basketball here. Yeah. And her daughter is a hooper as well. And so, it's about the love. It's like if you look around our organization, everybody that works with us, it's first and foremost there's a love for basketball and the game. And she definitely has that. She's a highly intelligent person, but she's also very athletic and understanding of the game. And so she's been involved with personnel. She's been involved with game planning. She's been involved with everything. It's like within our organization, titles are pretty much just that. We all kind of wear a bunch of different hats. We do a bunch of different things. And, she's been a big part of a lot of what we do.
Yeah. Take me inside bringing on community partners. I know that's kind of been a big point of emphasis for you guys, is bringing on, more people to help you guys out as sponsors, more kind of community partnerships with the YMCA, which with a lot of the spotlights that you guys do with your community partners. But take me inside like the talks of how those partnerships begin. It's something that I haven't like gotten the chance to really ask about or talk about. Like, how do those opportunities come to you guys? Do you guys kind of seek those out, or do they come to you? Like, how does that happen?
Majority of the time it's us. We seek it out and we make contacts with people. We literally have a list of businesses and phone numbers that we're looking towards targeting, and we all kind of take a chunk of the list and make sure that we're not overlapping and things of that nature. But most of it, involves a little cold calling, or even walking into someone's place of business with a brochure and a smile and, wearing the gear in hopes that they're ready to listen. It's funny, when we initially started last year in Eugene, it wasn't that we weren't well received per se, but there wasn't a lot of back and forth, whereas now up in the Albany and Corvallis area, folks have been way more receptive and way more open to what we're trying to do within the community. And so it's been definitely more successful and a lot easier as far as, and I'm not sure, I'm not trying to talk down on the community in the Eugene area by any means, because everybody in the community is awesome. It's just, it was kind of tough to light that spark. And, it's maybe because the Albany Corvallis area is a little smaller and a little tighter knit as far as the number of people that live there. I'm not sure, but they've definitely opened their arms to us, and it seems like it's going to be a pretty fruitful relationship going further. So
That's interesting.
but yeah, it's kind of neat because I've had a lot of jobs in the past where I've had to try and sell something or sell myself for a job interview, whatever it may be. But when you go into a room and you're selling something that you truly believe in, it's really not hard.
Yeah.
It pretty much does itself. I just kind of, I'm a vehicle for the message essentially. And, we've had some success in creating some partnerships. And I think as we go down, it's going to become even more successful for sure.
Beyond the community partnerships, what support from the league do you guys get as far as either, I don't know, sponsorships that are coming your way or financial assistance? Does the league assist you with any of that at all?
The league, it's different. As far as financially, they give us a leading hand as far as directions that we may consider going financially. But each team, it's kind of like a franchise type deal, like if you owned a restaurant or something, where we basically are in charge of all of our own finances. We do get some assistance when it comes to like incentives to maybe hire different coaches. Like, okay, there's this coach that's available. If you maybe give them a shot, we may give you, X amount of dollars off of your fees or whatever it may be, because they are also pretty community oriented and they want to allow their people to grow within the league as well. And so sometimes that'll pop up where, like, say Coach Coach Mary is available, and it's like, you guys need a coach. If you give her a shot, we'll work something out or whatever it may be. To be completely honest, I'm not a part of the financials with the league, and so I can't give you a specific answer with that. But I know that they are generally pretty helpful and work with us when we need to, work something out with that kind of stuff.
I've just always been curious about, like, some of this stuff. I think listeners are, and maybe it's not something we need to share with listeners, but I think it's
it's totally fine.
I think it's just an interesting question or discussion topic to have.
The TBL in general as a league is pretty amazing.
And I know they pride themselves on being in whatever they say, 39 different markets or 38 different markets. Like they pride themselves on kind of being around the country. And kind of advocating for you guys as franchises.
For sure. And they do put a lot behind the league and the big push. The All-Star Weekend is quite a big deal. They put a lot of money into that. And, in the 2 years that I've been here, not only have I seen our team grow, but I've definitely seen the league grow just in that short amount of time. They also have the BSL, the Basketball Super League in Canada, which was a pretty big success this year as well, which I think the goal is to kind of bring the two leagues together and make that like the Canadian Northern Division or something like that.
Gotcha.
I'm speculating at this point, but it seems like that's kind of maybe where they're headed with that. I don't know. But they did have a lot of success up there in Canada this year. A lot of the guys from the TBO went up there to play and, did some things. So it's pretty cool. It's neat to see the guys that you get to meet along the way go up and have more success and end up at that next level. And that's main goal as far as the TBL is concerned, is to help those guys get to that next level, which is invaluable.
And showcase those players. There's been a few success stories throughout the TBL. Let's move to you, Braydon. Let's shift to you. You've been sitting on the side. I've been talking to your dad a little bit about his job, but I want to move over to you. Talk about your experience as a basketball player. You played locally here in Oregon, and now you're on the Jaguars. Played a few games for them this year, gotten in for a few minutes. You had a pretty nice start to your year where in your first few games made some of your first few threes when you first came into the game. What's the experience been like this year in playing on the team?
It's been interesting. It's been cool. There's been some drama behind the scenes a little bit with coaches and stuff. But otherwise, it's been pretty cool. I'm just glad to get an opportunity, whether that's a few minutes or however many minutes I get. I played a little bit at the end of the season last year, and that was pretty similar. I remember my dad just kind of threw me in the game. Like, I was literally sitting on the sidelines, and we were down at halftime, and he's like, "Get ready, put these shorts on." And I hopped in at the end of the game, and I had a couple points. I had a few shots.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a really great opportunity, and I'm glad to be here.
Talk about your journey to get to this point. Playing in high school here in Oregon, coming here to the University of Oregon, and walking on. You're a practice player for the women's team,
Yeah.
I know, and now here playing with the Jaguars. Talk about your journey a little bit.
Well, I went to Willamette High School here in Eugene. That was pretty cool. Was on varsity for 3 years. Did pretty good my senior year, but not much came out of that. But I'm on the women's practice team at U of O, which has been an awesome experience. They've welcomed me with open arms. It's been really cool. Really cool getting to know the players and the coaches, see them play and being like, I know those people on the TV. Yeah, it's been awesome.
You just glossed over your high school stuff, dude.
Yeah, I want to know, what are the accolades? There's got to be something within your senior year where.
I mean, I don't want to brag too much.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I mean, I broke the record for threes in a year, my senior year.
Wow.
79, I think. I have the record for most threes in a game at my high school.
That's still standing?
I think so.
Okay, wow.
I haven't heard anything, but I think so.
You did it
That's
3
incredible.
times, too. 3 times you did 9 threes.
9 threes.
That's incredible. Wow.
Thank you.
All senior year? Those 3 games?
Yeah.
9 threes?
Or I think I had one my senior year, and then I had one like sophomore and junior year or something. But yeah, I had 3 games with 9 threes total.
Mm-hmm. What's it like to be kind of the young buck on this team? Have there been any like welcome to the league rookie moments? Like, have there been any of those stories or moments like this year or last year?
I mean, the guys have been really respectful to me, like even on
Okay.
the other teams. I mean, I hear talking every once in a while, like from the other team, like, oh, who's this kid coming in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know playing the Capitals, I heard like, this guy's 12, he's not gonna do anything. Don't worry about him or whatever. Like, give me the ball, this guy's guarding me. But I mean, otherwise, it's been pretty respectful. It's been pretty cool. The guys on the Jaguars have welcomed me in, which is awesome.
Does that motivate you when you hear that like someone's like, oh, this guy's completely disregarding me or my game?
I mean, it's mainly just funny to me, but yeah, there's a little motivation behind it.
That's good that you can laugh that off.
Yeah.
I imagine, like, if you take that much pride in your craft, I would take that maybe a little personally, but for you to be able to laugh that off, that's pretty mature. That shows some maturity. Definitely.
Thank you.
Well, just so you know, he's had this hairdo since he was like 6. And
Yeah.
so he's been catching heat from crowds since
I've
forever.
heard it all.
Yeah. And
Just for the haircut?
just for the
Yeah.
haircut. Like kids chanting things and saying things, and so at this point in his career, which is, he's 18, but he's heard it all. He's experienced quite a bit of stuff to where at this point it is kind of laughable. One thing that sticks out to me from last year, I don't know if you know who Tyshawn Pickett is.
Played for the.
He was on the Volcanoes last year.
Yeah.
And he, after last season, he went, shout out to Tyshawn, by the way, dude, you're the man. He went to Mexico after the season, right? And went and won MVP of that league,
Oh, wow.
helped his team win a championship, then went up to the BSL and did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's leveling up in a major way.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping he'd come back to Vancouver just so I could say hello because he's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
But last year we were playing Vancouver. In fact, he came in before the game and mentioned to me, hey, I heard about your kid. What's his deal? And I said, I told him about the thing. And I said, he may end up playing one day or whatever. And then later on, that was the game where I said at halftime, I'm like, go get a jersey on. He's like, really? And so during the game, Braydon took it inside or something, and Tyshawn just said whack and like blocked the crap out of the ball, right? And then had something to say that I can't repeat, right?
No.
But it was like, it was so cool to see, right? Because I was sitting there with
Yep.
Coach T, and we're like, look at Pickett yelling at Braydon, man, this is great,
Oh, my
because it was
gosh.
like, okay, he's in now. And then what was even better was after the game, he took him aside, and they had an awesome chat, like,
Yeah.
that's like, you touched on that before. So many of the guys are so cool to him. Not, Jag guys, obviously, because they see him work hard and they know that he's getting it in. But the opponents, a lot of the guys will come over and say, "Hey, man, keep going. What's your deal?" It's like it's super. Just everybody in the league is all kind of the same goal oriented, and so they're all kind of looking out for each other, which is super cool. Once the whistle blows, it's different. But last week, I think it was last week when we played Seattle, he got in with like 40 seconds left. He doesn't get a ton of playing time, just because he's the youngest and he's just kind of taking what he can get. But he went in there right away and made a nice little move and scored.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, the guys from Seattle were like, "Hey, man, okay," came over to him, were messing with him a little bit, and because they were kind of clowning him, like you were saying beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, who's this dude? This little kid."
Mm-hmm.
And then he went out there and made a little move, made a little play, and they were like, "Okay, let's go." And so
I remember you were kind of a spark off the bench for a team that was like looking for like some interesting stories on there, and I think you brought like a lot of energy and just a lot of you sparked some great moments, definitely, and sparked some runs when you played last year. What's a part of your game you pride yourself the most on? I hear and see a lot of just you practicing shooting, you going through drills and warm-ups, but what's the part of your game that you pride yourself the most on?
Well, the thing I've been working on most, like over these last few years playing in this league, is definitely my defense. Trying to get stronger, get in the weight room a little bit. I've been working on that a lot. It's hard to do that working on it by yourself, but I've been getting help from my trainer, Coach T, like my dad mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Shout out Coach T. But yeah, I've been trying to improve my defense. Like, these guys are grown men. Like, I got to get stronger. I got to hold my own.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been mainly just working on that.
You've been working out in the rec?
Yeah, for sure.
What kind of drills do you do, or what kind of like workouts do you do?
Well, mainly in the rec, I just work on like shooting, or like I'll try to work on my conditioning a little bit, like try to run. Like, they got a bunch of treadmills. They got the best equipment you can have.
Running on the treadmills, or running on that track that goes around.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good one. What are your next goals as a player? Obviously, right now you're playing professionally in CBL. You're a practice player for the women's team. Going forward for you now, going into your second year at the University of Oregon next year, what are some of your next goals as a player?
Well, my main goal is just trying to play college ball somewhere.
Okay.
Whether that's here, whether that's at another school. I mean, I love it here, but I want to play basketball somewhere, or whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my next step, is trying to get on a college roster somewhere, wherever that is.
Okay, so you're looking at D1 stuff? Or are you looking locally at Lane, or?
Just wherever I can play. It doesn't have to be necessarily D1. Anywhere where I can get an opportunity, a chance. Coach will give me a chance.
Yeah. I know that this year, I know that was a big thing for you going into this year, of like looking at stuff locally and looking at Lane, looking at some opportunities at Bushnell.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide, I want to come to the University of Oregon and try to walk on?
Well, it's a great school, obviously.
Okay.
I love the rec. I've been going there pretty much every day. And I want to continue my education still, too.
Okay.
Like, outside of basketball. And I know the school's got great education. Right now I'm a business major. I know they got the School of Business here. But yeah, just continuing with stuff like that outside of basketball, just in case if basketball doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm. How consistently are you playing if, right now for the Jaguars, you're in a few minutes when you do come into the game, but how do you, stay consistent, keep your game up to the standard that you'd like it to be at? Who do you play with? How often do you play? How often do you practice?
I mean, I'm practicing and playing every day pretty much.
Okay.
There's runs here at the rec, like later at night, that I'll go to with just random people, and those are pretty cool. But I usually do workouts by myself a lot, or I'll play with like some of my friends from high school basketball, and just trying to work out with them too. Just trying to keep my hoop dreams alive.
Hey, West Coast Strength.
Oh yeah.
New gym, somewhat new-ish. They have a pretty nice basketball facility there. Coach T's been training there, and they do runs there from 8 to 10 every night.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what else do you do? You go to Lynn Benton. He's been doing runs with Lynn Benton.
Oh yeah.
The community college up in Albany as well.
Were you also practicing with Lane for a little while, or just I think doing some runs there and playing like some scrimmages there?
Yeah, I have in the past.
Mhm.
I went to their prospect camp recently too. Yeah, I've been trying to. I did runs there last year, I think, a lot.
Yeah. Coach CJ, he runs a pretty good program over there.
Yeah, they just had the Player of the Year in their conference, Ben Thornbrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play with him at all?
I'm not sure.
You don't remember this, but you played with him on Elite 24. Ben Thornbrew was on Elite 24 with Greg.
I think I remember that a little bit.
Yeah, he was a big dude, and
Yeah.
he was really good.
He's
Yeah.
6'8". I've called like 2 games that he's played in. He's a monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really
insane.
good.
Yeah, he's good.
And playing at the community college level in the Northwest Athletic Conference, he's someone who dominates that competition. Who's some players that inspire you? Some of your biggest inspirations as a player? People you look up to in the league or outside the league?
Well, obviously, I have to say Steph Curry.
Okay.
Huge inspiration. I've been a Warriors fan all my life.
Okay.
Try to model my game after him. I mean, a lot of Warriors players, past players like Klay Thompson, people like that. I'm a small guard. Steph Curry's a small guard coming up. I've been to like Warriors camps, been to underrated camps, just trying to be like him one day. I mean,
Well, they somewhat know he exists, so we're gonna keep. He's been a Curry guy since, well, I guess since he was about 3 years old.
Yeah.
We're from the San Francisco Bay Area. I was born in Oakland, California, and
Didn't know that.
I've been a Warriors fan since. Well, I'm going to date myself, but since Rick Barry won a championship, my uncle was like, "You like basketball? You better like the Warriors because they just won." And
Yeah.
I was like 5, right?
No.
So I'm old, but suffered for about 30 plus years of them not being so great, and then Steph Curry was drafted and things changed.
yeah.
In the meantime, because I'm such a basketball guy, he became a basketball guy. And for his second birthday, got his Fisher-Price basketball hoop. And, he never looked back, seriously. And he's probably one of the hardest working people I've ever known. Not just kid, but person. You know what I mean? And I've had people tell me that don't know about his Curry thing, watching him play, like, something about him reminds me of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, cool, because that's what he's going for. You know what I mean? But not only just his game, he's just an overall good person. When we were discussing things growing up with Braydon, as far as with my wife, Erin, shout out to Braydon's mom, Erin, you're the best. We talked about how it's tough in this day and age, especially for kids to have idols, per se, to look up to people, because everybody's human, everybody's fallible, right? And so you could have somebody that you look up to, and all of a sudden they go rob a bank or something. And then you have to explain to your kid, okay, well, he was a good guy, but now he robs banks. So it's like we wanted to maybe lead him down a direction of, if you have idols or people you look up to, it's family members, people in the community, stuff like that, not necessarily athletes or celebrities per se. But as we got to know Steph and got to know what kind of person he was and what he was doing, and it was like, and he was just so into him, it was like, all right, we kind of signed off on that, which was, it's nice, especially in this society, this day and age, to have someone real positive. Even if it's, some reason, sometimes it gets frowned upon. They're like, oh, this kid's too happy, or he's too positive. Like, well, that's...
No.
So, it's good this day and age for people to still recognize that as a good thing and not just be like too cool,
Yeah. No, keeping a healthy, positive mindset about... And one thing about you, Braydon, that I've seen and I hear from the team and from your dad is you're consistent and you have some serious discipline. Some special discipline that, like, you can't really teach. That's something that you learn over time, that in order to make it or to have the drive, you have to be consistent, you have to be disciplined, and you definitely have that.
Thank you.
I'll say this for those that are listening right now and not sitting here with us. From the time that we started recording this, you took off your hoodie, Kelly, and you're wearing a Curry shirt, and Braydon walked in with a Warriors hoodie, so both of them sitting across the table from me are wearing Warriors gear.
Yeah.
I should have put the two together, that you guys would be massive Curry and Warrior fans.
Yes.
So.
Well, noted that I was wearing my Jaguars jacket when I came in.
Yeah.
So I am representing.
Yeah. You took off your hoodie. You're wearing the Warriors jersey. That's great.
Well, you can catch me most days looking like this.
Looking ahead for this team, I want to get this question from both of you. What do you guys think is kind of the next steps for the Jaguars to finish off? Obviously, finishing games, they kind of, the last 2 games, especially this weekend, kind of ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. But what is like the final thing in order to put everything together that they need to apply in order to get another win this year? They got 3 road games coming up and then 1 more game at home. What do you think they need to do in order to take the next steps?
I'm not sure. I guess it's just a lot of little things.
Okay, like what?
Like I said earlier, it's a game of runs. It's just like keeping our heads up on the bench, or like when someone misses a shot, be like, hey, you're good. Get back on this next play or whatever. Like being positive to each other. It's just like we're right there. Like we're only like 1 or 2 steps away from that. I think we're really close to being a more consistent and more winning team.
Yeah, they need to not get caught up in the moment a lot too. I noticed that because we're still new with the level of success, that when we can get success, we kind of get caught up in it a little bit. And then it's like right back to reality. You know, you got to get back on defense, that kind of thing. But it's almost like a puzzle, really, and not to sound cliche, but it's like some pieces are in place. We've got the edges all around, so we know we've got the edges. Now we just need to fill in the middle parts, and as we do that, you know, we're getting closer and closer to our ultimate goal. This year, you know, I would like to finish strong. We have lost a few players. I'm not sure who's leaving. We did bring in a new guy from last year, if you remember, Brandon Suttles.
Yep.
He came back into town to help us out, which we really appreciate. You know, he's a really dynamic player. He's one of those people that brings a lot of energy and a lot of high-flying ability, and so it's great to have him back. Not only for success, but it definitely he's very entertaining. It's one of those things where we're looking at the rest of the season as an opportunity just to keep building. We're not seriously thinking about how many wins we're going to get. We would like to win them all, obviously, but in the moment, we're more just trying to build on literally break it down to each possession. And I know that sounds pretty like, you know, minute or whatever, but that's what's necessary in order to build a program to be successful. Is, you know, it's a collection of successful moments, and the more successful moments you can stack, the more success you're going to have. And so we've stacked a lot more success this year than last year. It's not necessarily showing in the records, you know, in our record, but look at it this way, we've won 1,000% more games than we won last year.
Yeah, exactly. You've also, the scoring production, you guys have hit triple digits the last 4 or 5 games. Every game, I know that's a mark that Coach Stade wants to hit every single time, and
for sure,
Jaguars have gotten there. So the offensive production is coming. In talking about building off of this year, going into next year, you can say you don't have the answers to this question. I'm just curious, are there any pieces that you know are going to be going forward, going into next year, you'll have as far as players go?
As far as players go, we would like to bring a few guys back that want to come back. There is always a level of comfort that you get from bringing somebody back that's already familiar with the situation and has been through it with you. It's different when you bring in a bunch of new guys. This year we had 2 returning guys that helped us kind of stabilize things in the beginning, and sadly they've moved on since then. But in the initial transition of the new season, it was definitely helpful. And so I know we're hoping to, you know, retain a couple of our guys. We've got some talented guys on our roster. But with that being said, our ultimate goal is to get them to the next level anyway. So with that being said, we're more looking at like the more community involvement as an organization and trying to make sure that we keep moving in that direction in a successful way, and just make sure that we're able to assemble a collection of guys that are ready to work ultimately. We have a guy that, you know, I think Marion mentioned to you about that has been in the G League that might join us. And so, you know, hopefully that'll allow us to network with other guys that have also at that level and bring them in to help us out. Like Kyler Kelly does for Salem, at least last year. I don't think he can do it this year because he's pretty big time. But, you know, G League ends a lot sooner than our league does. And so those guys come back to where they came from and, you know, bring back some of that star power with them, which is pretty cool. So one day, hopefully, we can help someone get to that level to where when they come back, you know, like Braydon will come back. and help us out.
That's one piece that has stayed consistent from this year to last year is Braydon's still on the team.
Well,
so that's great to see.
The beauty thing is that he plays for free. In order to keep his amateur status, he plays completely for free, which is awesome. So he's volunteering his services for us, and we really appreciate that.
I'm hoping next week to get a interview with Anthony.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about the potential signee from the G League coming in this year towards the end of the season. Jaguars definitely have their hands full this weekend, going to Great Falls for 2 games against the Electric. The first one coming up on Friday at 6 p.m. at Great Falls High School, and then on Saturday, same time at 6 p.m. at Great Falls High School as well. So 2 games against the best team in the conference. That's going to be definitely a tough task for the Jaguars. Hopefully they get Jordan Robinson back, who is out this weekend, and hopefully can do some damage again and really prove that, you know, they're not going to be pushed over by the best team in the conference.
Well, you know, it would be nice to go out there and compete. It's it's our biggest road trip every year. It's I believe it's like a 9-hour drive or something like that in a 15-passenger van. And so the trip itself can be pretty taxing. If we're going to have some success, it'll probably come on the first game. Thankfully, the league, we only play them twice on the road. And so the league schedules it to where they're back-to-back, so we don't have to make that trip twice. But that being said, these guys are pretty darn good this year. And it would be nice to compete with them. And if we could steal one, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
you know, that would be a great way to, you know, something to hang our hat on at the end of the season for sure. But shout out to Great Falls. They're really doing it right out there as an organization. Last year was their first year, and they went out and had a lot of success. Yeah. They are in an area where there isn't a ton of things going on, and so they've got people coming from as far as 2 hours away to come watch their games. So, you know, they're kind of showing the way a lot of teams, these newer teams, on how to do it, and they have been doing it really well. I'm proud of them as far as just as another team in our league, seeing the level of success that they've achieved already.
Absolutely.
So,
and they're within the TBL power rankings, within the top 5. Yeah. Definitely a favorite to go deep into the TBL playoffs.
For sure.
So, again, a tough task this weekend coming up for the Jaguars. Any community initiatives that we should know about for these next few games until next Monday for the Jaguars or for you guys? Any community sponsorships, anybody that you're featuring this week?
Honestly, there's a few things that are going on. One of the things that I wanted to mention actually for him, for Braydon, is he's getting to be involved. Are you familiar with the Liberty's coming to town, right?
Yeah, New York Liberty coming up next Monday.
Yes. So because he's been on that practice team for the women, he gets to be involved with that, and he gets to go practice with them and stuff. And so, you know, I'm still trying to talk my way into going over
getting
there,
in there. You know, I'm devastated. I have for a class, we have to go for a reporting and interviewing class. We have to go into a city council meeting, and the meeting that we're going to is next Monday at 7 p.m.
Man.
I was going to try to record this podcast early so that I could go and see it.
Yeah.
If you want, I could give you my student ticket.
Yeah.
Really?
If you want it.
I might, man, because he's on his own. I don't get to get any tickets from him, I don't think.
It's pretty easy for me to just give you my login. I'll get the ticket for you. I give you my login, and you can just walk in with the ticket.
I'm sorry you don't get to go to that. That's messed up.
I would much rather, not much rather. I would, if I can't go, I want to give it to somebody who really wants to go. And wants
I appreciate
to be there.
that, man. They're doing some practice the day after.
Okay.
On the 13th, which happens to be his birthday.
Yeah. That's right.
But the women's team, I guess, is going to practice with the Liberty.
Something like that.
Something. I don't know. He was just invited to something to be a part of it on the 13th. And so I guess we'll find out what that is here coming up pretty soon. But, yeah, that's pretty exciting that Serena's coming back. I know that it was kind of a bad situation for her because of COVID, and she didn't really get to say goodbye type thing. And so this is kind of neat that she gets to come back. Yep. I don't know if you know, have you heard of the gym Incline that's in town? It's owned by a guy named Corey Gant. He used to train Sabrina many years ago. Okay. And so he had a camp with her when Braydon was in 7th grade, actually. And Braydon went there and got to meet her and all this stuff. And so I'm sure she'll remember him. I'm just kidding. But it'll be neat, and it's kind of like a full circle moment there where it's, when we were there at that camp was when he was first kind of recruited a little bit and stuff. And so there's some good memories attached to that, including Sabrina. So it'll be neat.
She'll see the mohawk and she'll know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's, that's one of those recognizable things. It's hard to forget for sure.
Absolutely. If listeners want to find out more about you guys, follow you guys on social media, where should they go to?
I mean, I'm pretty much just on Instagram, Braydon Ace12, Braydon_Ace_12.
Yeah. You, Kelly?
Yeah. Kelly_Richard_Long. Yeah. My social media is not quite as awesome as Braydon's, so, but I aspire to be like him one day. But yeah, I definitely recommend you check out, everybody that's listening, check out Braydon's stuff because he's got some pretty cool stuff on his social media. You're also on Twitter, right? Like 12_Braydon, something like that.
Yeah.
And if I don't get a notification or if I don't see a post from Braydon, I see you, Kelly, promoting Braydon's posts.
Man,
you help him out too.
It's a pleasure. You know what I mean? I love
your Instagram gets pretty full from his stuff.
I piggyback for sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. It helps me with my exposure, and then I'll be like, hey man, please share my stuff on your story. We need some real traction, not just 40 people.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys doing this.
Hey, well, we appreciate you, and I just want to, commend you for everything that you do and how awesome and much of a pro you are. I've seen you come a long way in a short amount of time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been such a pleasure. It's been so much fun.
I see big things for you, man, and I know that it's probably closer than you realize. So you just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to telling people that I know you.
Oh, I'm looking forward to getting to say one day that I called Braydon Long. Once he's playing with the Warriors.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's incredible. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you.
Keep staying consistent. Keep doing the little things.
I appreciate it.
That's what I'd say.
And if I didn't say it, dude, I want to shout out Marion too. Marion Clark, for real. Like, gave me the opportunity, allowing my son Braydon to work for an opportunity. It wasn't handed to him by any means. He tried out just like everybody else and earned his opportunity, but it goes to Marion for allowing that to even be a possibility and for giving me an opportunity to succeed just like I like to give other people. So, Marion, you're the man. Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah.
It's you and me, dog. All right.
Big shout out to Marion Clark. All right. This has been Jaguars Beyond the Baseline. I'm your host, Isaac Doobie. I've been joined today by Braydon Long, President of Gameday Operations, Kelly Long. Again, I'm your host, Isaac Doobie. The Jaguars, a tough task against the best team in the Pacific Northwest Division this weekend on Friday and Saturday at Great Falls High School against the Electric, again on Friday and Saturday. This has been Jags Beyond the Baseline. I'm Isaac Doobie signing off here on KWVA 88.1 FM and KOCR Oak Ridge 91.5. Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Jaguars Beyond the Baseline. If you want to find out more about the Jaguars, you can go to their website at wvjags.com or follow them on Instagram at wvjags. Come hang out next Tuesday at 6 o'clock for another episode of Jags Beyond the Baseline. I'm Isaac Doobie signing off on KWVA 88.1 FM and KOCR Oak Ridge 91.5.
Welcome to the Huberman